This is where it breaks because all that discussion about everybody's connected usually refers to 4G and 5G network.
There's no like impetus to make it a better situation in a lot of these places. It's fine until they turn it off. It's very expensive and there's no option for overage either.
When we talk about access to internet, it's easy for us to think, yeah, Canada's great, everything's fine here, but it's actually not something that just is an international issue. It's something we experience here at home too, especially in the rural communities and the northern communities that don't have access to that service. Or even if they have access to service, it might not be as affordable as what it should be. I think, Valentin, you probably have some great comments on that. I know you did actually some research on this.
When you look at what Canada, the government, is defining as basic internet speed, it's 50 megabyte download, 10 megabyte uploads. Now, to give you a reference, this is the equivalent of having about, let's say, 2 Zoom calls at the same time. I'm using that example very deliberately. I was recently talking with a partner in New Brunswick, and they gave this example where they work a lot with schools, and in those remote areas, parents sometimes they have to work from home as well. Now, if the kid is using a Zoom for school and the parents are using Zoom for school, there might not be enough internet for both of them, especially when you use some platforms like in school environments, Google Documents and all of those very interactive collaborative documents. They're eating your internet. All those tools that are used for constant collaborative communication are very, very heavy in terms of usage of internet. So if you have a satellite connection, or if you have a bad internet connection, the latency and the delays and how spotty it is means that sometimes parents have to choose who will get to use video that day for their Zoom call and such. And sadly, the reality of what they told me is sometimes parents don't want to win this argument, but they're bringing the money on the table. So the kid will watch a whole class without any video support. And this is here in Canada, 50 megabyte download, 10 megabyte upload. Half of Canada doesn't have it. The way we define internet is not just in terms of speed, it also the fact it has to be unlimited. So if you have on your cell phone a very good internet speed that you can have access in 94% of the communities in Canada, congrats. But I bet your cell phone is not unlimited. So if you have online classes and you start watching all that content online, you will go through your internet speed really, really quickly. So basic internet speed, 50 megabyte download, 10 megabyte upload, unlimited. And this is where it breaks because all that discussion about everybody's connected usually refers to 4G and 5G network, which, yes, granted, they have the speed, but they're not unlimited and they're very expensive. And by the way, if you want to have a cell phone connection, it's not necessarily accessible to everyone. And I'm not just even talking about having an antenna with a good signal. I'm talking to have it in an affordable way. You need a fairly good credit score to have those cell phones on a good package. Because if you're trying to get those connections at the prepaid, and a lot of people don't have such an amazing credit score, you cannot go far. You won't get a lot of data with a prepaid data plan here.
That's very true. One of the projects that we've been working on is with U of Alberta and some students who've signed up for this. It's a challenge-based learning and innovation competition, basically, but it is designed to tackle this issue, particularly as it confronts people in Indigenous communities. The challenge actually isn't about digital, but access to digital and broadband is definitely, as these students are coming up with these innovations that are all about, they're kind of based on medicine wheel teachings, and it's about getting people out and active and socializing and fostering connectivity. They might focus on that and devise their innovation towards that. But the digital poverty question, which is what it's coming to be called, is a barrier to a lot of their thinking. I was facilitating a mentorship session with some students and their assigned Indigenous mentor. And she was coming through really well over Zoom. We said, so what's the internet situation there like in Saddle Lake, right? And she said, oh, it's fine until they turn it off. She said, it's very expensive and there's no option for overage either. And I said, oh my gosh, please turn your camera off. Like, save your data. But she said, yeah, it's just, if we go through it, we go through it. And then there isn't any. And then that doesn't even account for the people that don't have any. But further to Valentin's point, when you've got multiple users in the house in in the kind of situation that we've all been living and learning and working all in the same place, and everybody needs to be connected at the same time. It's just insufficient. And a lot of the time, the providers in these areas are third and fourth tier providers, and it's a de facto monopoly for them. So that whole competitive edge that's missing in more urbanized Canadian centers that helps keep costs down and helps keep performance high and forces brands to do better in terms of deliverability for their customers and for their users, that isn't really there. There's no like impetus to make it a better situation in a lot of these places. Now, yes, that conversation is starting to happen, and it's good that it is. And all of the major Canadian parties have rolled out their plan to deal with it. And I can't help but think that competitive piece is going to be really key. I feel like that's very, very important in terms of making it affordable. There's plenty of people there, even though it's a lackluster deal that they can get, whatever the deal is that they can get, it's still priced beyond reach for a lot of people whose lives are defined, unfortunately, by that correlation between their remoteness and the poverty that they experience in their communities.